Hello there guys, it's me Unstable Voltage and welcome back to Europa Universalis IV. In the last video we talked about actually getting our armies set up and how to create more units, and in this video we are going to attempt to go to war and show you how that system works. Now one thing I just want well, two things I'd like to touch on before we do that. First of all, when I was talking about missions before, I said that if you cancel a mission you have to wait 5 years for a new mission to be available. It's actually only one. I'm not sure what it was that made me say 5. I think at one point it used to be 5. I know there's definitely some mechanic to do with 5 years on a mission, or maybe I'm thinking of Star Trek, I don't know. But certainly, yes, if you cancel a mission you have to wait 1 year to get another. Now, the second thing I want to touch on is with Navarre, because we actually had a royal marriage with them, which we still have. We had an alliance and tried to claim their throne because they had no heir, and it was a contested throne. Now, shortly after I claimed the throne, we lost the alliance. Now, the reason for that was, when you actually make a claim on somebody's throne, quite rightly, it annoys them. You know, you're trying to claim their kingdom as your own. They weren't too happy about that. But that doesn't actually break off the claim for the throne, just the alliance. Now, the reason the claim for the throne became broken is if we actually have a look at Navarre, they now have an heir who is 1 year old with a strong claim. So what basically happened was, after we claimed their throne, an heir was born, and obviously because they have an heir, then they no longer have a contested throne. So that is the reason for that. The other thing we did is we fabricated a claim on Tangiers. That is going to be our war goal. If we have a quick look at the diplomatic map, which is the shortcut key Y, and this is very good for showing us what we actually have. So our territory is shown in green. People we have a royal marriage with in purple, allies in blue, which is also showing us this place down here because that belongs to Portugal. The green stripy lines are places we have a core on, so we consider them to be part of our main territory, even though we don't have them at the moment. And the yellow stripy lines is a province that we have a claim on. So there are a couple of things that we want to do before we attack. First of all, before we attack Tangiers, we want to know who we could potentially be up against. Now, Tangiers are allied with, well, Tangiers is Morocco. Morocco is allied with Granada and with Tunisia. Now, we have a truce with Granada, but if they get involved with the war on their side and break the truce, then we can go after them. That isn't a problem. I'm not too bothered about that. They also have a alliance with Tunisia. Now, Tunisia are actually over here. Now, we can see on the map, Tunisia seem to have 4 units and a small handful of boats. Morocco have a handful of boats as well. So we shouldn't have too many problems. Tunisia are allied with Morocco and Granada are allied with Tunisia and Morocco. So those 3 nations are all allied with each other. That's not too much of a problem. Now, we can actually see most of Tunisia's army, although they could have some stuff hiding away in these 2 provinces because it is within the fog of war. So we might want to actually have a look and see how many units they've got. Now, there's a really handy way of doing this in EU4, which is the ledger. If you look under the minimap, you will see this little button here. It's the second one in from the left, and I believe it's just L on the shortcut key, which brings up the ledger. And there's a massive number of things that you can search through via country, for buildings, military, economy. Everything is doubled with a button. What we want to look at here is the military, and we want to look at armies. And if we look at armies, we can quickly look down. We can find that Granada has 5,000 infantry and 1,000 men, which we already know because we've seen them down there. They only have a force limit of 6, so they can't really have a bigger army than that. We want to look for Morocco. Morocco have 7,000 infantry and 3,000 cavalry, so they don't have a particularly massive army. And we also want to have a quick look down and find Tunisia as well. Tunisia have 3,000 men and 1,000 cavalry. So we don't have an awful lot to worry about. So there are a couple of things that we are going to want to do. First thing we want to do is we're going to take this group down here and move them here. And the reason for that is if we do get attacked by Granada, I want these guys to be able to respond to the threat. Now, I did talk about defending and attacking as far as territory goes. It's actually got nothing to do with whether or not it's your territory. Basically, the way it works is if your unit is in a province and an enemy army enters that province, you are defending. And you're defending because you were there first, even if it's an enemy province. So if I were to move my troops into Tangiers and arrive before the Moroccans do, when the Moroccans arrive, I would be defending. My army is already there. They're established, they're dug in, they've got the high ground, they've got the better terrain. The Moroccans would be coming in and crossing the river. They would get the river crossing penalty. They would get all the negative stuff that comes along with actually attacking. And this is why sometimes it's really good to get your units up in places with mountains, because you can get into the mountains, you can get the high ground, and your opponents have to attack you. Now, the other thing is as well, is if you arrive second, you're the one attacking, even if it's your own territory. But you only have to have one unit. You could have one regiment of men in a province and be attacked by an army of 30 regiments. You're still defending. You could then reinforce that at a later time. Providing that regiment doesn't die, you will still be defending. And that's going to come into its own when we actually go down here to Tangiers. So we're going to move this guy down here so that we're defending and we can defend against Granada's troops should they try to come in. Now, I've actually got two options for being able to attack Tangiers. Obviously, I'm going to have to get across the water. Now, there are two ways we could try and do this. First of all, I could just land my troops directly onto Tangiers using my transports. Now, I only have 6 transports at the moment, which means I'm only going to be able to move 6 units at a time, which is going to take me 4 trips in total to get this entire army across into Tangiers land. Now, the problem here is, first of all, we could declare war while we already have our army on the boats and land them instantly. So we get 6 units, 6 regiments into Tangiers instantly, which would be absolutely fine. Which would mean we would then be defending, even if Morocco's army turns up. But they could turn up before we have a chance to reinforce. And I don't really want that to have to happen. If you end up having to attack a piece of land, it's not going to matter if the province is empty because we will be the defenders if we get there first. But should the Moroccans get there first and we attack, we'd actually be attacking from the water. Because it's not our land, we can't actually dock our boats there. So our troops have to get off the boat, wade through the water over the beach into a defensive beachhead, and we would get a lot of penalties. We'd get a -2 crossing penalty for doing that. So there's actually a slightly better way that we can do this. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a little word with the Portuguese who own this area here, because they are our ally. And we are going to go into access actions, and we are going to ask them for military access. Now, they're pretty much guaranteed to say yes. It will send a diplomat to do so, which will take a few days. So I'm just going to unpause the game. Diplomat will take a few days to get there. And they have decided to give our troops military access. Now, that means that we can actually now land our troops in the Portuguese territory, and we can do that before the war starts. Because one of the other reasons we don't want to be relying on our boats to ship these men across while the war is going on is because it's quite possible that the Moroccans and the Tunisians and even the Grenadans can bring their boats into the Straits of Gibraltar and attack our fleet as it is trying to ferry these guys across. So what we want to do is put these guys on our transports. Now, our fleet of ships here, we have 5 heavies, which are combat ships, and we have 6 transports. So we can only carry 6 units at a time. And in order to do that, these boats are already docked. They're docked in Cadiz. We are going to select our army, and there is a button here that says Attach to Transport. The shortcut key is A, but we're going to Attach to Transport. Now, all you'll notice is a little boat, a little ship has appeared to the right of their flag. If we now select the ships and right-click over here in the Straits of Gibraltar, we've now set sail and we've taken 6 of the units with us. It does take us a couple of days to get out into the Straits of Gibraltar. We'll arrive there on the 3rd of September. There we go, we have arrived. Now, we can't actually get the ship to dock here because we don't have fleet basing rights. If we wanted to actually dock the ship and then get the men out, we could do that, but we'd need to ask them for fleet basing rights as well. But we're not going to bother with that for the moment. As you can see, we are taking a little bit of naval attrition because the men are at sea. It is going to take them until the 14th of September to get off the boat and get over there, so let's allow that to continue. We could be actually building up some more ships while this is going on. In fact, that is probably something we should look at, because we are actually below our naval force limit. And I think what we could actually do is get a few light ships. Light ships are good for trade. Galleys are quite useful in inland seas. I think we're going to get a couple of galleys, and you build them the same way that you do with troop regiments. You can either go to a coastal province and click on the... let me just show you because it's easier. You can either left click on a coastal province and click the build ship button and then select the type of ship you want to build, or you can click on the production interface, select the ships that you want to build, and then left click on the coastal provinces, and it works that way. So let's leave them to build. They will take quite a while. We're going to unpause the game. We're also going to increase the speed slightly just to make this a little bit quicker. Our 8 stack has arrived over here. Now we can send our boats and get them to redock at Cadiz, which is very quick. We are going to attach these guys, bring the boats back out into the straits. Seems a little bit fiddly. It would be better if we had more transport ships, but just imagine if we were actually doing this before or during the war. So we've taken a little bit of attrition there. You can see we have lost some men. Our leader goes across first. When you split the army, the leader always goes in the first part that is split off. So we're going to send the boats back to Cadiz. And they have arrived. We are going to attach these guys to the transport and get the transport back out to sea. And let's get these guys off the boat. Let's select the right ships. Off you get. Now, the other good thing here about actually having all of our men gather in this piece of territory first of all, we won't have to attack via the sea during the war. And secondly, it also means that any attrition we get from coming across on the boats, the naval attrition, we can actually get rid of that because we can regain our morale and we can fully reinforce all of our men from being here. So we're going to attach those last 2 guys to the ship. Looks like Granada are moving some more troops around. We're going to get these last few guys off the boat here. And as soon as they arrive, we are going to take the boats and put the boats back. There we go, they've arrived. We're going to take the boats and put the boats back in Cadiz. So now all of our boats are relatively safe. We do have a trade fleet, but as soon as we go to war, they should automatically dock. We'll just have a quick look and make sure that nothing has changed. They're still only allied with Tunisia and Granada. We're going to select this entire army. As you can see, it's made up of 4 separate armies now because we did split it up. So we're going to hit G and make it into a single army stack, comprising of 15 men, or 15 infantry regiments, and 5 cavalry. And we do have a leader, even though he is not fantastic. So, this is where we declare war. So, we are going to go to Morocco, and we are going to declare war. And our casus belli is to take Tangiers. We'll get 75% aggressive expansion, 100% prestige, 100% diplomatic power, and 100% core cost. And I'll explain all this as we go. It tells us who their allies are there. I was unsure whether or not to invite Portugal into this war, but they could be useful for defending if Granada try and get a little bit fresh. The little tick boxes allow you to tick who you would like to invite to come to war with you. They can say no, but the little tick here represents whether or not they will likely come or not. Sometimes your allies consider that it's too far away or it's not worth them getting involved. Maybe they've got good relations with the people you're going to war with and they don't want to upset that. But as you can see with Portugal, as far as they're concerned at the moment, they've got a good... good attitude towards us. They trust us. We've got good diplomatic reputation. They are fighting in another war and they're in debt, which gives them a negative, but overall we have a positive. They will very likely join. So we're going to hit declare war, and there you go. We are now at war. Country is at war with Morocco. So what we're going to do now is we are first of all going to slow the game down to speed 1. And I'm going to select my army and move into Tangiers. I can now move into enemy territory because we are at war. Now, what you will notice when you are at war is you will see this little shield appear at the bottom, and it will have the nation that you are at war with. And as you can see here, we are actually at war with Tripoli as well. We weren't at war with Tripoli before. I'm not sure why all of a sudden we are, but they're all the way over there, and I don't think they are going to be an issue to us, though they could surprise me. If you left-click on this shield, you will see who is involved on both sides. You've got myself and Portugal on this side. We are the war leader because we are the biggest nation. Sometimes you'll get dragged into a war that you don't even start. It might be a war that your allies are involved in, and you might automatically get put in charge of the war if you have the bigger army. And we're against Morocco, Grenada, Tripoli and Tunisia. We can see a number of things here. We can see the stability of the nations. We actually see that Morocco has a 0 stability and Tunisia is actually at -1. We can see the total number of troops on each side. The troops that we have vastly outnumber the troops that our enemies have. And we can also see the ships as well, which we seem to be doing slightly better on. And there is this current war score and a list of battles won and lost. There's a button up here for a peace treaty, which we can't do at the moment because we've only just started the war. And in the middle, we have this current war score. Now, at the moment, it is on 0 because the war is just started. We want to push it to the right into the green and get a positive war score because that means we can demand things in the peace treaty. And the enemy's trying to drag it down this way, give us a negative war score so they can demand things in the peace treaty. Now, at the moment, the only thing that's affecting the peace treaty is the war goal, and the defender controls Tangiers. So because Tangiers is the war goal, whoever controls this will start to get some points. So if I just sit around and don't do anything, Morocco will automatically start to get war score because they control the war goal, which I don't really want them to have, which is why we're going into Tangiers. So we're going to unpause. And we're going to get our guys across. Now, as you can see, the moment they arrive in Tangiers, they start to take some attrition. And you can also see up here that your units have suffered casualties. Tells you how much extra gold per month or ducats per month it's going to cost to reinforce them. Now, what we've got going on here is a siege. If we left-click on the province, what we now see is the siege screen. We can actually get the province screen by clicking the show province button, and we can also select our army by clicking the select armies button. But if we actually look at the province, you can see a number of useful things. You can see how many men are in the garrison that is defending the building. We can see the level of their fort, and you can see how many men we have and the amount of attrition. Now, this little clock goes around every 33 days. This is a siege phase. And as the siege phases go, as it ticks on, we will actually get better rolls that will or decrease the siege that they have. It will actually start burning them out and we will get better rolls. So at the moment, phase progress modifier from the province not being blockaded. We could put some boats out in the water here and try and blockade this province. And it might be a little bit risky. We do have some heavies. Let's actually try it. We're going to move our boat out into the water because we might be able to blockade them. It might work. We might take some damage to our ships, but we'll have a little look and see how that goes. And also, of course, they have a fort here as well. So the level 2 fort gives us -2 modifier on that. So we're going to unpause it and let things go. And as you can see, the Portuguese have actually helped here. So a battle between ships works much the same way as it does with a battle between infantry, except you don't have individual regiments, boats are individual. You can see we did actually win a battle here. We actually captured 2 enemy ships as well. So they managed to lose 2 of their light ships. We captured 2 light ships, and the Portuguese navies actually got involved. So it is quite good that we got them in. Because it was only a relatively small skirmish, didn't really get any war score for it, but it looks like the rest of these Granadan ships are going to get sunk by the Portuguese navy, so we're fine with that. While that is carrying on, there we go, we get plus 0.35 war score. Didn't capture any more ships that time, but that is what we wanted to happen. Here's our trade ship. Looks like they've taken a bit of damage, but they are coming back home. We are going to take our fleet and leave it here, actually, because if we leave it here, we are blockading. Because we're out in the water, we are actually causing... We only have a 43% blockade here, because we don't have quite enough ships to blockade the entire region, but we do the entire province, but we can blockade 43% of it. Now, you don't need all of your men here to siege a province, and it would certainly go faster if we had any artillery, which we don't. Another option you have is to assault. Now, ordering in an assault, as it says, will be costly. It costs 5 military power, you'll lose an awful lot of men, but it will speed up the assault. We don't really need to do that, and you should never do it until the walls come down, so we're not going to bother with that. As you can see already, the defenders' morale is starting to drop, and we are now down from minus 63% to minus 49%. If you mouse over, it gives you a list of useful information. Each time a siege phase happens, a dice rolls from 1 to 14. That roll is then added together with all of the siege modifiers. The result of the roll is as follows. So if we roll a 5 to 11... there's a 50% chance of that, they get a shortage of supplies. If we roll a 12, which is only a 7% chance, they get a food shortage. There's no possible way we could roll 14 to 15 at the moment, because the negative modifiers are meaning that is impossible. That would give them a water shortage. If we could roll a 16 to 19, then the defenders would desert, and if we could roll a 20, then the defenders would surrender. But it's not possible for us to do that until we actually get some of the modifiers up in our favour. So as I was saying, you don't need your entire army here to siege. It only takes a couple of units. So what you can actually do is select your army, and we'll do that with the select army button, and you have a button here that says this will detach enough units to execute a siege properly, and the shortcut key is D. So if you select your army and hit the D key, what's now happened is it's split the army into 2 stacks. The remaining 16 or 17 regiments are attached to the mouse. So if I now right click on Casablanca, we've left 2 units behind to siege Tangiers, and we're moving the rest of the army down to Casablanca. Now this could be potentially good, because if we siege, the more territory we siege, the less places they have to train their troops, less places they have to reinforce from. If you manage to capture a province in a siege that's coastal and it has any docked boats, those boats will be forced out. So what sometimes is a good idea is to put your ships in this bay, because once they leave we'll be able to take them. We can see they've got some units here. The Moroccan First Army is heading towards Fez, and that will arrive on the 16th of January. Now, there is a little bit of a weird thing that goes on with the AI in this game, and that is if you attempt to move some units into another region, the AI will just stop and turn around. So I'm going to take these guys that have arrived in Casablanca. I'm going to hit D to detach a siege. Now they do have a leader here, and their leader is 330, whereas our leader is 223. So we do have slightly better maneuver, but they do have the advantage in shock and fire. Now what I could do is try and move my men, and I probably wouldn't get there before them, so there's almost no chance that I will be able to defend this. Having a quick look at Morocco, we can actually see that their military tech is level 3, so it's the same as ours. So what we're going to do is we are going to select our bigger army, and the AI basically checks every 2 days whether someone is moving into a particular region. So we're going to wait until the 14th of January, which will be 2 days before this Moroccan army arrives in Fez. I could speed things up a little bit, but I don't think I'm going to. Just for the purposes of basically trying to demonstrate how this works, it's easier to go at the lower speed. So we're on the 14th of January. We are now going to move into Fez, and hopefully they won't turn around. No, they're still going in, so they will arrive. We are going to get into Fez on the 30th of January. Now, these guys are actually heading to Tangiers, but they won't get to Tangiers until the 1st of February. We arrive on the 30th of January. We get there first. We're actually going to catch them. They're not going to be able to get away. Unfortunately, they are defending because they are here first. We are going to get a river crossing penalty because we are going in. So let's wait until we arrive. Okay, going to pause now. So let's have a look at what we can see here on the screen, the information we have. So this is the Battle of Fez, because that's where it takes place. We can see our army and their army and the layout. Now, they don't have any back lines. They are completely front line. Now, what we can see here is the morale. Now, when morale gets down to 0, that is when the army breaks and flees for the hills. We can see that we have 105% discipline, whereas they only have 100% discipline, which gives us an advantage in battle. We can also see that we have a better base morale than the Moroccans do, and our military tactics is about the same. Now, what you can see here, you have a dice roll, and that dice roll rolls for both parties on every turn. You can also see that we have a -2 terrain penalty because we are in the mountains, or at least they are defending the mountains, so they get a better dice roll. We get -2 because we're trying to attack them in the mountains. 60% of Fez is mountainous. If we actually look on the terrain map mode, you can see that quite clearly there. If we'd have arrived there first, and we'd have been the attacking party, that would have been much better for us. We also get a -1 penalty for crossing a river. On the other hand, because they have a leader who has fire 1, they get that 1 added to their roll. So the first turn we rolled a 9, but we got -3, so effectively we rolled a 6, and they rolled a 7 with a +1, which is an effective 8. So 6 versus 8, they technically won that roll. So let's unpause and allow it to continue. As you can see, as it goes on, the morale of both sides drops. We get a slightly better roll there. Still a 2 compared to theirs, so 2 versus 2. It's a similar roll. We basically roll nothing there. So even though they actually have... Well, they do have a slightly better leader, but because they are in a better position, things have actually worked out quite nicely for them. I'm not actually sure what's happened to my leader here. It does say I have a leader, but my leader isn't showing up in the fight, which is very, very strange. I'm not getting the bonus rolls from my leader here. So it's quite possible that we are going to lose this fight. Now, I don't want that to happen, so I'm just pausing the game, and I'm going to take these guys that are sieging Casablanca, and I'm going to move them into Fez. Now, hopefully, they will get there before the battle ends. They're going to get there on the 8th of March, which might be too late for us. But I'm going to get my fingers crossed and hope that they do get there in time. We actually lost that battle, which is quite surprising. I was expecting we were going to do better there. So what's going to happen now is that army is going to break, and it's going to head over here. Well, it's going to head off somewhere and try and reinforce. Our diplomat over at Navarra has done as much as he can, so we are going to recall him. So we're actually now into a bit of a negative war score because we lost the fight, and our unit is going to run away until it recovers some of its morale. So we're going to unpause, let it go and recover. We have still done quite a bit of damage to the Moroccan army, but they will recover morale with each passing month. I'm still amazed to find out what actually happened. Right, where are you heading? You're heading to Tafal, so it looks like they're actually trying to chase me down at this point. They are producing some other units. As we can see, they've got a unit here in Safi. We may be able to get around them without too much of an issue. And we have a random event, the last jousting tournament. So basically, we have the option to lose 30 administrative power and... Oh, basically, let's read the whole thing. Plus 10 to morale of armies, plus 1 to army perdition, and plus 0.5 to yearly prestige. We'd lose 30 admin power, and we'd lose 53 ducats, or we can lose 5 prestige. having the morale of armies and the army tradition would be fantastic. We're actually going to take that because that morale is going to help us in this current war. So our army's actually arrived here. Now, the problem we have at the moment is we can't actually move. And that's because our morale is currently so low that these guys are stuck in that position. They're going to arrive on the 18th of April, which means on the 1st of April, we should actually get some morale back. And therefore, we should be able to move out of this territory. The padlock should come off. So let us just wait until the 1st of April. There's the 1st of April. We've got some morale back, so we can now move over to here, which we are going to do. They'll probably instantly change direction. No, they're still heading for Tafalat. They're actually splitting their armies now, and they're heading back this way. So what I'm going to do is play a little bit of a trick on the AI, where I just keep moving from province to province and changing the direction that I wish to go in every couple of days. Because that basically leaves them in a position where they have to keep stopping their movement and coming back. It's giving me a chance for my morale to reset. They're also building quite a few more troops here. Now, I'm not necessarily sure that Granada is going to get involved. I could move these guys into Granada, which I probably should do, simply because Portugal is already in there and starting to siege. So let us move these guys in. We've also managed to complete these ships. So we're going to get all of these ships moved into the Straits of Gibraltar, and we'll form all of those guys up there. We've got a little bit of an issue here, and that is the issue that there are some rebels that have appeared in Portugal. I think we will actually try and get some more of our armies across. These guys will actually get them over as soon as we can. But I do want to try and keep these guys here alive. I don't want to end up losing these guys. So, navies have all arrived. Let me just pause, make sure they are all together. So, we're going to select them all, and we are going to hit group. Now, one option that you do have with your armies is this little button here, attached to this unit. If you actually click the tick in there, attached to this unit, and we can do that with our armies as well. What that essentially does is it allows your allies in the fight to actually attach their regiments to your army, and then they will just basically follow you around if they wish to. We're going to try and siege out the rest of Granada, and hopefully then bring some troops back. We can see that the siege is in Tangiers is now down to minus 35%, so it is definitely getting there. This cavalry unit looks like it's heading into Casablanca, but we should be defending, so we might well be able to win that fight. So we're just going to keep ducking from province to province until our morale recovers a little bit. And these guys have arrived in Granada, so what we're going to do is we are going to detach a siege. Did I have the right unit selected? No, we're going to detach a siege, and we're going to move the rest of the guys over here and take over this. It was here where we accidentally detached, so we're going to hit G and regroup them. Now, these guys now look like they are heading into Marrakesh. That is very interesting. Well, I'm not going into Marrakesh, so if you guys want to head that way. They're probably going to go into Marrakesh and try and reinforce with these guys in Safi, but that is fine. I'm just still trying to recover some morale. And then we'll try and meet up with the guys in Casablanca. Maybe I got a little bit too greedy by trying to take out Fez. We'll see what happens. Let's have a look up here. What's happening? We haven't quite arrived yet in Almeria, so we'll see what happens when we get there. These guys are still heading into Marrakesh. That's fine. It's probably going there because they're defending their capital. One thing that you can do, which really increases the speed at which you get a positive war score, is to actually attack and hold your enemy's capital city. We've arrived over here, and we actually instantly won that battle. So we have wiped them out. So we are going to start sieging that. Okay, these guys have arrived in Marrakesh, and they are now heading in this direction towards us. So we're going to head into Fez. We will get to Fez on the 11th of June. They're going to arrive on the 28th of May. That is no good for us at all. We could try and head towards Figwig, which we would arrive on the 13th of June. So They're going to catch us, whichever direction we go in, unfortunately. We're a little bit stuck here. Options, options, all for the lack of options. I think what we're actually going to do... How long would it take these guys to get to Marrakesh? The 9th of June. These guys will have already left by then. That's not a fantastic thing. So, I think we're going to end up potentially losing our army again here. There's not an awful lot that we can do. So, we are going to just hang around in here. They will get the crossing penalty, but we're already at low morale, which is a little bit of a shame. And they're moving more units in to reinforce, which is not good. So this isn't the ideal method of me showing you guys how to win a battle when I am totally screwing things up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select this army up here, detach a siege, take what's left, move it over to Cadiz, and then we will use these guys and move over and try and reinforce our army in Tangiers. Let's unpause and allow that to continue. So as you can see, quite a lot of our armies are taking attrition. Here is the Battle of Tafilalt. And we're actually... Now, as you can see on this one, even though we didn't start with full morale, we actually don't have the penalties that these guys do. We have a much higher morale, base morale. We have a higher discipline, and we're getting better rolls. Let's hope those rolls actually continue. And as usual, the computer rolls a 9 and we roll a 0. Pretty standard for EU4, the AI getting stupidly unfair rolls. 2 versus a 2, which works out slightly better for us, but not much because our morale is already so low. Computer gets the slightly better roll there again. There's no way we're actually going to be able to get here to reinforce. It's just not going to, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to be possible. Again, the AI gets the better roll. Slightly better roll in our favour, and once again, we lost, which is most annoying. So, let's have a look at our force limit now. We've probably actually lost some units. We're still on 28 of 28 because we haven't actually lost any regiments, even though a lot of the regiments are down in men. If we actually look here, it actually says we have 15 regiments, even though we have only about 4,000 men. We still actually have that the same number of regiments, and we're just getting stuck further and further into their territory. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select these guys and I'm going to hit this button which says consolidate regiments, and what that will try and do is it will try and make full regiments. So instead of having 10 mostly empty infantry regiments and 5 mostly empty cavalry regiments, we're going to click consolidate regiments, and that makes us 4 and 1. So now we only actually genuinely have 5 regiments here. What that does is it now puts us below our force limit, and we can have another 10 units. So we're going to go in, and what we're going to do is we are going to get ourselves some mercenaries. Now, as I've said before, mercenaries are quite expensive, but sometimes you just need them. And there we go. We have... how many more can we have? They only had 8. So that's all of those used up. And we will get ourselves a... Right, we're out of money now, so we've got to be careful there. So let us unpause. Now, where are you heading? You're heading towards Marrakesh. That's fine. You guys are still running. And you're heading towards... Sousse, 26th of June. And you'll... It's only 4 units, so I mean, we will lose more war score if that happens. So, let us get our transport. So, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select, make sure that they're all grouped together. And I'm going to select this little navy, and all I want is the transport. So, I'm going to left-click on the transports. Is it right-click? Never remember. Oh, it's at the top here. It's not these ones, it's these ones. So I'm going to left-click on the transports, and that now just selects the 6 transports. And I'm going to make those transports go and dock over here at Cadiz. Let's unpause. As long as we win the Siege of Tangiers, that is going to be the important thing. So let us get these guys onto the boat. Now, the reason our cavalry is showing in red is because we are breaking that golden rule of not having more than 50% cavalry compared to our infantry. But once we join them up with our main armies over here, we should resolve that issue. So we're going to move over and drop our troops on land. Oh, make sure we select the right boats. Okay, now I was actually caught napping there and didn't see that I was actually getting attacked from Safi over here. And now I'm actually starting to lose some units. But once again, let's actually have a look at the battle. They don't have a leader, neither do I. And once again, the AI is getting stupidly good rolls. This is what always seems to happen in EU4. The AI tends to cheat a lot. And we lost the battle, what a surprise. In fact, we were what is known as stacked wiped. Our army got completely killed there. I think what I'm actually going to do, instead of trying to spread my armies out now, I'm just going to put as many of my units as I can in Tangiers and just defend that one spot while we finish sieging out Granada, because I'm not that bothered about getting Tangiers, although I would like it. My main reason for doing it was to get Granada into a war while we were still under a truce. Now we can actually see here that quite a lot of these mercenaries are ready. So we're going to select all of them and move them down into Cadiz. Got some more troops arriving over here. Battle of Sus, that was my remaining units that went down here. They have now been wiped out, which is quite annoying. But not the end of the world. And now they're probably all going to merge and start attacking Tangiers, which is not exactly fantastic. But we should be able to get a few units over there to reinforce. Now, one thing that will have happened is we will have lost our leader. So what happens is if your leader is part of an army and that army gets completely wiped out, the leader just becomes unassigned. So I'm going to assign this leader to this group over here. And the reason I'm doing that is because I can't assign them in enemy territory. I have to do it in my own. And you can see when I select these units, their name is in green. And the fact they're in green means that they are mercenaries. So hopefully this cavalry is going to arrive here pretty quickly. It's actually going to arrive on all of these pop-ups. Where are we? On the 4th of August. It's going to take you a little while to get across there. And then we're going to go back and pick up some more of these mercenaries. Obviously, we have produced some mercenary knights. They take a little bit longer to produce. Right, you're just sitting in Fez. You're defending your capital. That is not unsurprising. Obviously, the knights, cavalry units do tend to move a little bit quicker. Would be nice if you guys actually got there a bit faster, but there you go. You have arrived. We're going to take our transports, take them back to Cadiz. We're going to group all of these army units up, these mercenaries. Navy has arrived. We're going to select the army. We are going to attach to the transport. I believe also you can just right-click on the water. Do it this way. I thought there was another way of doing it. There used to be a way where if you had the boat in the water, you could just click out into the water, but let's do it the way we know. We'll group everybody together. We'll attach to the transport. We'll select the transport and put the transport out to sea. And then we will tell it to offload our men in Tangiers. You see, they are starting to reinforce. I mean, they did take some casualties, even though we've actually lost the majority of the battles here. If we actually look now, we can see that we're in -4 war score. And that's mainly because the war goal, Tangiers, is still controlled by Morocco. So out of that -4, -3.2 is actually still from the fact that we don't control the war goal yet. And Casablanca, Safi, and Gibraltar are all being blockaded, which is giving us a little bit of additional war score. We will draw things back up. Everybody still has a high war exhaustion at the moment, so nobody is willing to peace out at this point, so we will continue on, but we will continue on another video, because I think this one has gone on for long enough. So hopefully on the next video we'll start to siege some provinces and hopefully get to a point where we can enact a peace deal and hopefully take some of Granada and take Tangiers for ourselves. So, thanks a lot for watching, guys. This has been Europa Universalis IV, and I will see you on the next video. So until then, goodbye for now.